is Ahmed Alshehri. I go by Ajlan, and I'm here to present to you our research project, Negotiation Behaviors Between Owners and Bystanders over Data Practices in Smart Homes. I am thankful, grateful for such an amazing group of collaborators. Eugin, Joseph, and Jacob are students at the Clark School of Mines, and Dr. Benjamin Gilbert and Dr. Chuan are professors at the Clark School of Mines. And we are very excited to be presenting at such a great conference today. Why is privacy important? I realized that Kai is not necessarily only about privacy, so I wanted to touch base about some definitions and to build some common ground before we dig into the details. Privacy is simply the right to keep your personal life private if you choose to, and information privacy is the right to have some control and get notified and asked to notice for any data practices. Privacy is considered a fundamental human right agreed upon by the majority of the countries around the globe. And there are a lot of privacy legislations, such as GDPR, California Privacy Act, and so on. Privacy concerns are important to be addressed because they might prevent or delay growth in such an important technology, which is like the smart home technology in general. So if we address the privacy concerns, we might see some growth. And also, smart home devices have great utility. We don't want to lose that when we address the privacy concerns. So we have these kind of two sides, such as security and control and convenience and entertainment. Who doesn't like to say like, hey, Google, hey, Alexa, do this or play that? I like to do it certainly while I'm cooking or cleaning. It's expected by 2024, we might have 375 million smart homes around the globe, and a home is occupied by more than one person. So this number times 2, 3, 4, 5 in some cases. So the issue will be relevant to a lot of people in the near future. Last slide about the definition, I promise. Owners are the main users of the smart home devices. Bystander, we have two types of bystanders. The type that can live with you in the same home, such as roommates or spouses and kids, and the type that can be temporary in your smart home, such as family members, friends, and domestic workers. Data practices, we talk about how the data is collected, shared, and stored, and so on. Recent findings motivated us to explore more in this research project, such as like owners and bystanders find it awkward to talk about data practices. Imagine if you go to your friend's home and say like, hey, what devices do you have and what data practices do you do? They might not know. If they say like, I don't know, that's a really legitimate answer. And they might be very honest. And owners are willing to address privacy concerns, but they have different privacy preference. So negotiating that to reach a resolution might be a win-win situation for both. Owners can preserve the utility of their devices, and bystander can preserve the privacy of their own data. For example, I can ask my friend to not collect my facial data, or not to share it, or to delete the data after 3 days. So we can reach something in the middle. Visually, the problem bystander don't have any control, like regarding notice, consent, or even like controlling their data after it's collected. And we wanted to explore the willingness, which we published in PETS last year. And then we want to explore the negotiation behavior, which I am presenting to you today about. The question we ask is like, what are the negotiation behaviors and what are the correlated factors about that? And how can we predict an outcome based on the negotiation behaviors and the situation factors? So the study design and recruitment. We wanted to approach this problem from a quantitative and qualitative perspective because this is a new problem, a novel issue, and this problem space has not been explored sufficiently. So we didn't want to just do that quantitatively. So we went to Amazon Mechanical Turk and we recruited a lot of people, 460 participant, and we balanced that between bystander participant and owner participant. And that is assigned by us. We don't care about if they own or not, own smart home devices or not. Factors we consider when we generate scenarios to ask participant to go through is between subject relationship types such as friends or strangers, and negotiation types such as like strict or collaborative. Within subject will be like the device type, which we consider smart speaker and smart camera, and the three types of data practices such as like data collection and storage and sharing. Uh, we divided our study in three big sections, like the pre-negotiation kind of questions, then during negotiation, which when the participant is interacting with our digital agent, and the post-negotiation. Every participant will be assigned a role, like they could be an owner or they could be a bystander. And if they're an owner, if they are assigned to be an owner in our study, they will be negotiating with a bystander digital agent, and that agent could be strict negotiator, could be a friend or a stranger, or then they will negotiate over the two devices under the three different data practices. It will look like something like this. So we present the scenario to them, then we tell them what the owner is disclosing to them, then we ask them how they feel, then this whole interaction will be like in a chat bubble. The blue bubble means like the participant responses, and the gray bubble is the digital agent responses. And they will reach a conclusion, which is like either an agreement or no agreement. And in this case, for example, they reach an agreement about storing the data for 2 weeks instead of like 6 months or so, or like forever. So I'm going to report some of the results. I can't cover everything. The paper has all the details. So number of rounds, we found that the number of rounds are significantly different between owner participant and bystander participant. Bystander participant took less number of rounds till they reach the conclusion, either with agreement or no agreement, compared to the owner participant. We also report the final preferences of like what they chose. We provided 4 different preferences for each devices, and they negotiate between those 4 preferences. So preference 1 will favor utility preservation, and preference number 4 will be good for privacy. That means like less utility, more privacy for the bystanders. We notice, which is interesting in this slide, or even in the paper, that bystander participant kind of budged and agreed to choose preference number 1, which is like it favors utility because the power imbalance, because they don't own the devices, and that you might not feel they have the right or entitled to negotiate with owners of smart home devices. While the owner participant chose a variety of preferences, which shows like their willingness to negotiate with the bystander digital agent in our study. Types of agreement, I want to highlight that full agreement means that the participant reach an agreement in every single negotiation interaction with our digital agent. That means like 6 times. For the bystander participant, they reach more agreement when they negotiate with a stranger as an owner, compared to like owner participant reached less agreement when they negotiated with stranger as a bystander. We also report the qualitative analysis, which is like if they reach an agreement and budged or not budge, and what they say from the open text responses. So in this case, we say like we reported when an owner participant say like, hey, I'm not gonna reach an agreement and I'm not gonna budge because this is my home and this bystander is being ridiculous. We also ask participant post-negotiation analysis, like what is the most important thing to negotiate about? An owner participant wanted to negotiate about collection and storage because it's easy. So one owner participant say like, it is very clear and cut. I either collect or not. That means like they will turn off the device so they don't collect anything. This due to like less technical or less tech savvy participant, and might impact the utility significantly. Bystander participant, on the other hand, preferred sharing. So they might be okay with the collection and the storage, but they might not be okay with sharing by owners. We also recommended, we provided some recommendations, negotiation focused recommendation. For example, more factor to negotiate about and more price preferences to negotiate about. More factors mean that they might negotiate the location of the device. So it's okay to record in the living room, but not in the bedroom, and so on, and justify why we choose this preference. Overall negotiation means like, hey, even if you negotiate, you can turn back the mode to like the normal mode. And we want Also, we provided a recommendation to automate the entire process between owners and bystander in terms of negotiation. And that is all, and I'm happy to answer any questions now.